Cool. There we go. Welcome everyone to the first Cloudy County Community Call of 2024, our new rebooted series. This is our land grant slash extension specific community. So our goal, Joe and I have supported extension programs for a long time, and we're both computer nerds, and IT is kind of a necessity in this day and age. We're all technologists, whether we want to be or not. So Joe and I try to, kind of take some of the information that's out there, the new things, it's constantly changing, distill that, put that out there in a little bit of a spin for as it relates to extension and land grant schools specifically. Today's topic is really cool. It's a new way of collaborating with your friends inside of Teams and Outlook and Word and all kinds of stuff that we're going to talk about called Loop. And normally, before we get into that, Joe gives us some news. There's constantly things coming. If you've heard about this AI thing, there's a lot of news around that. So Joe's got a lot of updates that we'll cover in the beginning before we get into Loop. Once that's over, we'll turn off the recording. People can ask questions. You can ask questions while the recording is going. That doesn't bother us at all. Just know you'll be on YouTube. So ask us in the chat, raise your hand and ask. That's totally fine. We're pretty easygoing guys. But yeah, and for those who don't know, I'm Dwayne. I'm a cloud solution architect at Microsoft, and that's my bro, Joe.
Yeah, I'm Joe Gasper. I'm currently a Microsoft MVP and a systems administrator. So yeah, I'll get us kicked off. Started with a few what's new and just some informational items. First thing I want to put in people's mind, and just a reminder, there's a video platform that's called Stream inside of Microsoft 365 that's been going through over the years, actually several migrations. Um, if you've been using this in the last few years, you're used to it being called Microsoft Stream. Stream videos, stream recordings. It's a video platform um, that is changing and has changed over into a location where your files are saved now, which is OneDrive and SharePoint. Stream Classic, the old place where all your files are at, videos might have been over the years. That's been going again through some migration, and there's some deadlines coming up. And potentially, if your university has made some changes and some setting changes, we're looking at April 15th to kind of get off that old Stream Classic. So you want to make sure that if you used to use that and have forgotten about it, because new Stream 2.0 and the niceties of having that inside all your videos and recordings inside of OneDrive and SharePoint, kind of forgotten about that. Make sure you go there and just check there's not something you need there. You can go download it, put it back up into OneDrive or SharePoint. But to check that and make sure you don't have something over there, if you're in your Office homepage, up in our little app launcher, you'll find Stream. Pull up Stream, and up in the upper right corner, you're going to find a little link that shows Stream Classic and how to get to that. In this tenant, for us, that's been off for quite a while. I click this, it's going to try to get to there, but it's going to show me that it's not active because we've turned it off and we've completed our migration. Briefly, you saw a little view there, but if you get into Stream Classic, you'll find a place that's called My Content, and you can see all of your videos that you might have created and make some decisions on if you want to bring those over into New Stream and put them up on OneDrive and SharePoint and take advantage of those platforms.
Can you I almost said a weird business term. Sorry. I was gonna say, can you double click on that? That's like corporate world, like invading my brain, and they say crazy things like, let's circle back and double click and lean in. I'll try not to do that again. Um, can you go back to talking about, like, it's still called Stream, but it's really SharePoint OneDrive, right? With like some
It's
video
Stream.
enhancements.
I think they call it actually Stream on SharePoint in
Ah,
parentheses
yeah.
to help us understand that the back end storage has significantly changed where those files are living. That's where
Yeah.
you'll see Stream Classic or Stream on SharePoint.
And Jackie brought
SharePoint
up
isn't
something in the chat that was really kind of a pain point that I forgot about is Teams meetings used to go to this like completely separate system called Stream, and that's where your recordings were. And people from outside your company, like it wasn't possible to share from that platform with external people. And that made it really challenging and really frustrating. So the new Stream, which we say new in air quotes because it's been around for like a couple of years now, that meeting recordings were going there, makes it easier for you to share. So yeah, Joe's got a recording there. He can just share it just like he would any other file that's stored in OneDrive or SharePoint. So these are treated just like a regular old file. I think the objective is to make videos feel and work more like a document. You can drop them into a chat. You can drop them into an email. You know, they're more portable now.
And what's nice with the new stream is there's some other enhancements here we have right inside of the stream homepage there. Playlists you can create. You can do a camera recording, screen recording, and upload right from your browser and take advantage of some of those. Also, with having your files living up in OneDrive or SharePoint, there's some enhancements coming around displaying that content out. So one of them, this is back from May, but this is something that's talked about a while ago, but I would say it's kind of really actually new and is really fully rolled out. And that is taking advantage of some SharePoint parts. So there's a new stream on SharePoint, SharePoint web part that we can take advantage of that really make beautiful intranets. Take your recordings for that live up in a team. Let's say maybe you've got a channel you're running weekly meetings on, monthly meetings, and all your recordings are automatically going into that channel and being saved. Now there's a really easy way to make a real pretty page, display those videos. I'll walk you through how to do that. I have open here is the homepage of a team. When I'm in SharePoint now, I can go into the pages library and I'm going to start a new site page. On here, I'm going to go ahead and just give this a name. This is our meeting recordings. I'm going to drop in a web part. And you'll find a new stream web part. When I don't do anything, I just drop that in this page. There's already videos from recordings in this team that live in the standard document library. And it's going to already produce a really pretty display of your latest, most recent video. You've got a slider for some other most recent other videos that are sitting there. I have some options here. I've got theater mode. I can change this to a grid mode. I have some other options here. Right now, it's just showing any videos on the site from anywhere they're at, but I can pick a single folder or a single video if I want to highlight it. There's my theater and my grid mode, how many videos I want to show, how many rows. And one nice feature is that this has an option to show recently created. Previously, if you were doing something like this, you were probably using a highlighted content web part, and getting it to sort by created was a little difficult. This one is kind of built in and makes sense. So when it gets created, it automatically is going to flow up into this web part and into this page. If I publish this, I now have a page that I could bring this page into Teams as a tab. So it's really easy to get into all the recordings for if somebody's joining your channel, joining your team. A great way to come in and see all that information.
Joe, can you do me a favor? I'm gonna throw you on, catch you off guard here. Can you, since that's in our tenant in the Cloudy County Extension team, can you just pull that team up and bring that in as a tab real quick? And while he's doing that and showing how easy this is, I want to just kind of like level set here. Every single one of you is probably a part of some sort of recurring meeting, right? That meets every single month or every single week or something like that. You're in education. You got committees. You meet with people on a recurring basis. Think about how easy this is to have those recurring meetings. You record each one, right? I'm guessing somebody's probably in charge of like emailing out the recording or something like that. If you have those in a Teams channel, which we talked about this way back in the beginning of Cloudy County, we talked about the different kinds of Teams meetings. One of those meetings is a meeting that takes place inside of a Teams channel. Whenever that meeting is recorded, the video file is automatically dropped into the files tab of that channel. And so using this stream web part, you could create a SharePoint page and say, show me every single video that exists in this specific folder. And once you do that, you never have to come back and set this page again. Apparently Joe's is broken, but theoretically, if you could bring this in as a tab,
Great video. Let's
try the other SharePoint.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. Try the just regular SharePoint.
Try one.
You could bring this page in and link it at the top of that channel. And every single time you ever had a meeting from that point forward, that page would be updated and you'd never have to do it again. So like this is really, I think it's kind of nice looking. It's pretty. You get all those videos laid out for you. And you have different, yeah, there we go. I think that's the one you made yesterday. Yeah, you're going to get this most recent meeting is going to be automatically listed at the top. And then you're going to have a carousel at the bottom where somebody could just tab back through all the previous meetings. So you get the question, where's the meeting recording at? Go to the page, go to the channel, click on the tab at the top, and you'll have all of them. So I think this is really powerful because you only have to do this one time. And then it's automatic from that point forward. Sorry to throw you that curveball, but I just wanted you to demo the actual bringing it. Once you've made the page, then what do you do? How do people find it? Well, using tabs and channels is a really powerful way to do that.
And I think having this kind of automatically pull those recordings in saves you from having to remember to do that, which often currently you have to sometimes remember to rename it or do something to perhaps get it into where you want it exactly to show up. So yeah, nice to be able to take advantage of that. Did it live. That's great.
Nice.
So yeah, that's a nice little change there. Couple things in Teams itself we want to talk about real quick. One of them that's nice to see that in Teams 2.1, new teams that we have, is we're getting a chance to now see the ability to add a image as an announcement background. We previously in new teams, we were just getting like a color. We didn't even have any pre-built images we could select from. Now we've got the ability to do a nice image. I'll bring that up. If I'm going to just go create an announcement, type my headline in here, but now you're going to start seeing what looks like and actually is Microsoft Designer icon. And I can come in here and I can add an image like we used to be able to, something that you've already created, or I can pick something that's been generated for me as a start, but I can use Microsoft Designer to fully create a headline and bring it in. If you have Teams Premium, you're going to see this ability to actually have an image generated through generative AI and produce a brand new image on the fly. So that will only show up if you have Teams Premium. If you don't, you're still going to get the ability to add an image or use Microsoft Designer to do that. Also, that's a nice feature that was missing in new Teams. Nice to see that come through.
Yeah, this is a supercharged announcements because the one before you could upload your own picture, but you had to already have it edited and cropped and set the way you wanted, or you could pick from like a pre-canned illustration of a fire-breathing dragon or a honeybee or something like that. But now having the ability to like search for some templates and do some editing and stuff like inline, you can customize it and those types of things saves you lots of steps. And most importantly, it makes your posts look interesting. It makes them look less like work, right? And more like fun. So add some cool headlines. Be curious to see. We're going to talk about new teams. I guess we could do that now. Talk about new teams.
I think we should. Yeah.
Okay.
That would be good to
talk about it now. So we talked about new teams 2 months ago, I think. Pretty sure it was about 2 months ago. and said, "Hey, there's a whole new version of Teams coming. We talked about the timeline a little bit, but I'm gonna revisit that and say like the stuff that Joe just showed is only available in the new version of Microsoft Teams." He called it Teams 2.1, so it's because he's a nerd, and that's the technical term for it, Teams 2.1. So the more creatively named New Teams is available now for institutions whose administrators left all this update settings alone. They left it at the default setting. Those institutions were moved over to New Teams starting the week of January 2nd, which was last week. So some of you may have actually gotten upgraded to New Teams as early as last week. So I'd be curious to know in the chat if anybody saw that change happen, any feedback that you may have on that. But we wanted to bring that up because there were lots and lots and lots of education organizations that were moved over to New Teams last week. So you're probably seeing it. If you're not seeing it yet, I don't want to say deadline, but deadline for moving to New Teams would be March 31st. So when March 31st hits, uh, all customers across the whole planet are being moved over to New Teams, and the old version of Teams will go away. So you'll have access to that designer feature, the ability to create posts and stuff like that inside of your Teams environment.
And I think the one of the key features that we talked about previously is, but it's just so important in extension. And when we know we've got extension agents that live in a county world. They might be part of a county organization and their university organization. They've got accounts in both worlds, two different Microsoft 365 organizations, and switching between accounts. You can bring in multiple accounts into New Teams, and you can switch more cleanly and quickly between those accounts or between organizations. Um, you can be on a call in one, switch accounts, join chats in another one, and not drop that call. So take advantage of that for extension agents. We know that kind of live in a couple different worlds sometimes. It's really been
Mm-hmm.
very helpful.
Yeah, Joe and I were just marveling at how amazing that is in New Teams right before this call started because I am connected to this meeting using my Cloudy County account, but I'm also simultaneously looking at, like, I guess I shouldn't be ratting myself out that I'm multitasking, but I'm looking at my work account at the same time. I know you're all doing it too. So it's nice to be able to work in multiple kind of systems at the same time, and New Teams makes that a lot easier.
Let's continue a little bit more on some items that are what's new in search, and this is going to be in New Teams. We're going to find this. I think we pull up. Let me get into channel here that's got some chat. I just hit Control F. That's the easiest way to kind of bring up search when I want to search inside this channel. What you're seeing here is I've got a little window pane now on the right hand side that pops up, um, and I can type in. Let's search for forms. There's a couple times we talk about forms. So now I've got one view. I've got the channel. I've got the word I'm searching for, and I've got the results of that search, and I can stay kind of in one place, look quickly through these search results. Um, we've previously you were kind of bouncing into the full thread, bouncing back out of the thread, and this search really is really taken off here to make this easier to find what you're looking for. Definitely take advantage of that. Let's see if we want to. There was another little bit. Yeah, domain specific search. So as soon as we just click up in the top level search, this is going to search all your files, and you can see your group chats and teams and channels. This makes it a little bit easier for you also if you want to come up here and you know what you're looking for was in a group chat, you're able to say, I just want group chats. Or I know I'm just looking for a file. Don't search for a bunch of chats or that word might show up. This will also help streamline and make searching a little bit faster.
Yeah, that bar gets
Next,
overlooked a lot. The little bar at the very top. I don't know why. It's super powerful. We've talked about search before. This will search everything that you have access to in Teams. We've talked about Microsoft Search, which you can hit through office.com. That will search everything that you have access to in the entire system. So when people are sharing files, if they share it with the entire company, well, you're part of the company. You'll have access to it. So, that's not meant to be scary, but just for awareness, when you're sharing something, just be mindful of the setting that you're choosing when you share that item, because it will show up in search.
next thing I want to cover, which we've talked about also recently a little bit, is Microsoft Copilot, and really homing in on some naming. Bing Chat Enterprise. When we were talking about Bing Chat Enterprise, that means we were able to sign in with a work account, with your university account, and get some added protection. Um, your prompts that you ask, the questions you ask when you're in protected mode, don't get stored. They don't get used for training. There's a lot of enhanced privacy and protection when you're in protected mode, and that's really what they're using here now is commercial data protection. There are some terminology, and you'll find some probably a little bit of terms and conditions around this to help understand the protections around this. Just want to be aware of that. One way you can get into Copilot is copilot.microsoft.com, and you will see if you're signed in with a work account or your school account. This is Edge. I'm signed in with the work account into Edge. I'm going to show this protected icon up here in the upper right. That helps me know that I'm in the place I want to be if I'm going to be asking questions that might relate to work in some way. I don't want that tracked. Um, and that's the smartest place to go. So hopefully that is something that university has turned on and enabled for you and made accessible. It's I don't know how much time you spend in there doing. I'm using this all the time to help me accelerate my work. So,
Yeah, I'm on the latest version of Windows 11, so I have Copilot built in, and I leave it open. I'm looking at it right now. I leave it open on the side of my monitor, and it's something we talked about, I think November. The title of that video was Bing Chat Enterprise, but like Joe said, it's the same thing as what he's showing on his screen, which is now the easier to say Copilot with Enterprise Data Protection product. So I said in the chat earlier, I don't work in marketing.
well,
But
it does
everything
sound
is,
safer than it sounds
it
safer than
does.
Bing
Yeah.
in there. So yeah, that's good.
Yeah. It's all underneath that Copilot umbrella, if you will. And this is one that is for businesses, for schools, for enterprises. It offers that extra protection. That means that the prompts that you ask it are not saved. They're not used to train the AI model. They're not even seen by a human. They're deleted as soon as your chat is refreshed or you start a new chat. So if you have a really cool prompt that yielded like amazing results, you need to copy and paste that into Notepad or something and save it. And yeah, Joe's highlighting some of the bigger news about this is coming to all faculty licenses in education. So previously it was only available for A3 and A5 licenses. It will be available for A1 licenses, and super exciting is it will be available for students that are adults. So the way you define adult is up to the country you live in. So there's some work that has to be done by the admins to flag a student account as being in the adult age group. So there's some nerd work that has to be done there. But once that is done, that will even enable this feature for students. And so the idea is to truly make AI available to everyone. in the company in a safe, protected way so that they can use it. So if you go back on our YouTube channel, if you didn't see the previous episode on that, we showed how you can write your end of year reporting as an extension agent using AI. So some pretty cool stuff that you can do with that.
Right, I think that's all we've got for really want to cover with what's new. Unless there's
Okay.
something forgot, but I think that's what we'll cover for this month.
Awesome. Thanks, Joe, for that. Appreciate it. I am, let's see here. I'm going to start off talking about Loop. I won't share my screen just yet. I'm just going to use my words right now, and you're going to have to stare at this face for radio. Loop is a new type of file, a new type of app. So it's a new application that comes along with a new type of file. So just think about that for a second. Like we've got docx, Excel files, PowerPoint files. You're going to have .loop files. So these are new types of files that plug into different areas that you might be working inside of Microsoft 365. So that could be Teams, that could be Outlook, that could be Word, office.com on the web, inside of a Teams channel, inside of a Teams chat message. Those are all places that Loop will work and function and be super useful. So I'm going to start with I'm going to make up a scenario. We always try to make this relatable as best as we can. Let's say you're writing a proposal, or you're writing I don't know, you're gonna have a session at a conference, and so you're writing up your abstract, or you're writing up a session proposal, and you want a coworker to look at it, right? You could take a Word document, put all your content in a Word document, put the Word document in your OneDrive, share that Word document, select your coworker's name, and then copy the link to it, or let it send them an email to let them know that something was shared with them. You could then chat message your colleague and say, hey, I'm writing this proposal. Could you take a look at it and let me know what you think? So they're going to receive that chat message or that email. They're going to see that there's an attachment or a link to a document. They're going to click on that. That's going to bump them out of Outlook or out of Teams, because now it's opened up in a new window. They're going to go look at your document, probably get sidetracked by their inbox, and then never come back. Probably not. We're all professionals. They're going to follow up with you. But you can see there's a lot of steps, right, that take place. And that's collaboration. That's kind of the world we live in right now. We've got files stored in the cloud, and we give people access to those files so that they can either review them or collaborate on them with us. And that's really cool.
And that was just for an abstract, a paragraph we're talking.
Yeah. Yeah. So Loop actually puts that collaboration component directly in the chat, directly in the Teams chat. So I'm going to show you what I mean by that. Let me grab some text first. I should have AI write me something real quick, but I'm lazy, and we're going to use my favorite site to generate some gibberish.
They have a good smell.
All right, share my page. Okay. So I'm working with Beverly. Hopefully, Joe, that's coming across. Looking good?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So I'm working with Beverly here, and I've got a paragraph that ultimately she needs to review. I need her to review it. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and we're going to talk about the loop button here. So this loop button is going to open up a new menu, and it's going to allow me to generate what is called a loop component. So a loop component is a portable canvas that you can drop into a like Teams, Word, and Outlook. So that I want you to connect in your mind, component equals portable. So when I click on this, it's going to give me some items that I could choose from. So I'm going to create a component, And then I'm going to pick what kind of thing are we going to do? Are we going to make just a list, a table? I'm just going to choose paragraph for right now because that's, easiest to demonstrate. So I'm going to choose paragraph. And it looks like I'm writing a chat message. But really what's happening is I've created a file and I can now paste content inside of this file. So this is my abstract that I need Beverly to review. It's pretty meaty. And I can send this to her so that she can see it. Now, I'm not going to click send yet because I want you to see that there's some file type permissioning stuff that you can do here. So I've got this menu right here. So I can choose what kind of access I want Beverly to have to this file. I can open this file up in my browser if I wanted to view it outside of Teams, but I want to stay in Teams right now. And most importantly, I can give it a name. So this is going to be my Bacon research paper. So that's my title of my name.
I'll be a co-author. That sounds great. I'll help research.
It smells good too. So I'm going to send this to Beverly. So send. Now, here's where the magic happens. I have sent this to Beverly, and Beverly has received it directly inside of a chat message. So I'm going to show you what it looks like on Beverly's side. So I'm going to switch computers. I see I have an unread chat message. I'm going to click on that unread chat message, and that loop component loaded directly in the Teams chat message. Now that you're probably like, so what? You sent a block of text, big deal. I can edit this. I can go here and I can say your proposal is way meatier than it should be. You need to cut this in half. That's too much stuff. So she can just click delete. And so she has now deleted that text. If I switch back over to Nestor, as soon as she did it, I saw it happen. So the previous example of we've got a Word document, it's got some text in it. We're going to share it with a colleague. They're going to go through 3 or 4 different hoops to get access to it. Now what you're doing is you're taking the content that you want them to look at and you are literally putting it in their face. They don't have to go anywhere. They don't have to click on a link. They don't have to sign in to another application. They don't even have to switch windows if they want to make changes to it or work on it with you. I used this the other day with a colleague of mine. I received an email from a customer and I was drafting a response to it. And I was like, hey, friend, pal, buddy, help me out here. Let me make sure that I'm saying everything that I should be saying. So I just fired up Loop, pasted in my block of text. Ian and I worked on it together. It took us 5 minutes. He gave me some ideas. We made some corrections. Now I had a finished product. I then copied that text, put it in an email, fired it off. I was done. I got a whole nother brain to work on drafting my email response in just a matter of minutes. And I made it easy for him because it was just in the chat where we were already working anyway. Joe and I have talked about Loop before, and I feel like one of our big why behind you would want to use this is because it increases the likelihood that you're going to get the answers or the results that you want because you're putting it directly in the place that you're working with the person. Now, this loop component, let's say Beverly didn't look at it. So I'm going to copy it. And I'm going to open up Outlook. Eventually. There we go. Maybe. Come on. So I'm going to send this to Beverly. And I'm going to hit Control V on my keyboard. This loop component, the nerds call this hydrating. It hydrated, it loaded, it rendered, it became accessible just by me copying and pasting it. I didn't have to do anything special. I could now send this to Beverly as well. So let's say Beverly doesn't use Teams chat. Sad days. Maybe she only uses email. I could send this to Beverly via email. Please review this proposal. And I could send it over to her. If I switch over to Beverly's system and we'll log her into Office, fire up Outlook. check her email, eventually review this proposal. She is now in here, and now check it out. Same thing. She is in email, but the loop component can be edited. It can be worked on. Maybe she has more content for me that would be helpful here. So she can enter down, Control V, paste all that stuff in. I'm going to switch back over to my original account and look at it in Teams, and you look at that. It's already there. And it's really hard for me to demonstrate just how fast this is. This is incredibly fast. It is so fast. It feels faster than Word and Excel and all those things. I don't have any data to say that that's the case. But you can be in here. This is one component now that can be put in different applications that it's all the same thing. And as people work on it, it's happening live. You can even see presence. So if I see right here, you can see Beverly's picture. I know that she's looking at it. I know that she has it open, and I can see her as she's editing it. I see her cursor down there, kind of like you would in a Word document. Question in the chat, same tenant required. Kinda. So it doesn't work in federated chat or external chat. But recently, new teams had the capability to use Loop inside of Teams channels. So if someone was a guest in that team, they would be able to look at it in a Teams channel, but not in a Teams chat, not an external chat. So, and I only showed you a paragraph of text, and people are saying whoa and neat. So that's pretty cool. I haven't even shown you the other stuff it does yet. So I'm going to show you where it lives, just to kind of show you we're talking about bacon and stuff. I might as well show you where the sausage is made. So if you click on the actual title of the document, of the loop component, it's going to take you to the behind the scenes file. Remember I said there's a new file type. It's called .loop. So if I click on that, it's going to open up my web browser, and it's going to take me to the larger view of the file. I think this is useful. I realize I told you in the beginning that, doing it this way prevents you from having to switch out into a new application. Sometimes you just want more screen real estate. So if you take a look at the chat, I am confined to this box, and I can enter and I can type and I can enter, go up and down, but I'm still in the same size box. So if this was a larger thing, maybe several people had been contributing to it, sometimes it's nice to be able to open this up and actually hit it in a web browser. So I'll do that. You can see all the changes I just made, all the gibberish I typed is all there. So now I have a full page that I can use in my browser. Now take a peek at this. Remember when I started this, I said, I want to insert a paragraph. There's other things you can insert. So let's explore some of those. I'm going to arrow down a little bit, do a little /, and I know this might be kind of hard to see. Let me zoom in, make it a little bit bigger. Check out all these different types of items you can plug into this canvas that you're working on now. A Kanban board. Okay, let's see what that looks like. This looks like a planner board built right into this. That's powerful. I can make some tasks. I can add an owner to it. I can move that card over from one column to another and move it around. Let's try another one. Let's try a task list. Okay, so task list, eat bacon. Who am I going to assign this to? I'm going to assign this to Beverly. And she must eat bacon by today. She's got to do it, right? This is integrated into Planner. So this is going to create a Planner plan. Beverly just got an email that says you've been assigned a task. It's now going to show up inside of her Microsoft to-do list. It's everywhere. And so now imagine you're in a meeting and you drop a loop component in the chat of the meeting. Maybe you open it up in your browser. You're taking notes. You're coming up with action items You can now assign those action items to people, and it's going to be integrated and built into the task management system that's already in M365. So she's going to have all kinds of notices. So if she opens up tasks by planner and to do inside of Teams, she look, eat bacon. And I can see it's connected to a loop file. So this spun up for the nerds on the call. This did some incredible magic. This spun up a planner plan behind the scenes and created a roster of all the people who have access to that loop component. Now they can be assigned tasks from inside of that loop component. Pretty sick. I feel like this is really cool. What if I did eat nope, that's not how you spell eat. Eat brisket. And I tried to assign it to somebody who wasn't a member of this. So notice what it's telling me, this person, to give this person access and notify them, just click the here. So we've made it really easy now to share this loop file and pull people in as you need to and make them eligible to be assigned tasks from this little loop component. So I'm going to do that. Share it with old Worf. He's my buddy. Done. So he needs to eat brisket by tomorrow. I think this is incredible stuff. Now, there's a few things that we're going to talk about in our last like 10 minutes or so. Well, first of all, Joe, what do you think?
I've recently been using this for agenda on a meeting. So we've got a scheduled meeting in a channel, and so the scheduled meeting gets placed. It shows up in the channel. It's going to occur, a week out. I can create a checklist loop as the first message on that scheduled meeting, and add some agenda items. And anybody who's in that team can add agenda items, and we can kind of see how that's built. We get closer to the date, we can easily drag and drop. You'll see a little icon next to a lot of these list items that show up like in tasks or check items. There's a little icon you can grab, and I've heard it called the six pack, which goes really well with
with brisket and bacon.
So not sure what the official
I
title
like
is,
that.
but that's
Yeah.
what I've heard
You talking
officially.
about that right
So,
there?
yes.
Yeah. 6-pack,
Maybe
meatball
it's
menu, hamburger
maybe it's a
menu.
grill. I don't know, but so easy to move them around and order them. So you can get that agenda built and it's ready to go. And because I chose like chose a checklist, I can check those items off as we go through that meeting during that time. You might, I think there's actually an agenda item. Maybe you want to use a task list because maybe you want to assign a person who's going to talk about that item specifically. Because you can choose some of those other items for that purpose, but you could also send that out as an email. Is once you've got an agenda built, send it out as an email to people, and they can maybe work inside of an email and also build that agenda. So again, it's about helping get information in front of and collect information from people in the place that you think you might get the best response or they might see it. And as that information changes, as soon as somebody opens up an email today and the agenda is changed tomorrow and they go back to that email, they're going to see an updated agenda. So that helps you without a lot of potentially back and forth emails, or having to open up like Dwayne's initial scenario of using a Word document to share and do some collaboration on quick items like this, where you're trying to get some quick information. This is a great platform, and that's how we've been taking advantage of it.
Yeah, when you say like getting what you need quicker, that really like that just all comes back to what our underlying takeaway from Loop was. Is it is all about speed and fast, and I think that kind of translates into a savings of sorts. Because if you can get answers that you need quicker, or you can collaborate on like what you need super fast, that saved you time, right? And that's got value to it. So I think there's a lot of value in what this can do in your workday. The meeting part of this is so powerful, like having the agenda, having the minutes, having a task list with action items that can be assigned and delegated to people really quickly. From a committee chair perspective or project manager type perspective, this is ridiculously powerful. And I'm super happy to show it off. I want to
Going back,
show what.
sorry, just I think I'll put you on the spot real quick, just because I think that last tab, the other screen you're on, if you could pop that email out and put it side by side, kind of overlaying the team a bit, and just type in there, I think you can quickly see just how fast your updates show up.
Put me on the spot, Joe. All right. So I got Teams on the left and a Teams chat. I've got Outlook on the right, and I'm just going to mash my keyboard as fast as I can go. Oh, it scrolled down. But it's instantaneous. Like it's literally real time. There's no syncing happening here. Like this is just, it's happening real time. I wish it would keep scrolling for me, but you get the idea. Really, really fast. So that's in a chat. So remember, I said there's a few different places you can use these loop components. Remember, components equal portable. It's a portable workspace that you can drop into another application so that you can get answers and collaborate really, really fast. You can do this in a Teams channel as well. And if you go all the way back to our beginnings of file management, where we talked about that early on in Cloudy County, we had a short saying that we came up with. And it was OneDrive is yours, Teams is y'all's. That's the short and sweetest way of saying who has access to what. OneDrive is you. So this loop file right here lives in my, in this case, Nestor is the account I'm using. It lives in Nestor's OneDrive. So I can actually open up his OneDrive. I'm going to do it in File Explorer. And I can go to his Teams chat files. And there it is. Bacon Research Paper.loop. So this means that this loop it's a file, it's a document stored in Nestor's OneDrive. It is owned by Nestor, and Nestor has to share it out as he sees fit. So this is the yours part of OneDrive. The y'all's part of OneDrive is Teams. So when we want to have something that's owned by the larger group, so anybody who's a member of the team has access to the content that's inside of the team. Well, in new Teams, it supports starting a loop component inside of a Teams channel. We're going to go start post. Click, I see loop component there now. And we're going to do a checklist. I'm in the barbecue channel, so we're going to call this barbecue cook-off. This is my planning document for making sure that this event happens, right? And I'm just going to click post. Anybody who's a member of this team now, or anybody who becomes a member of this team later, will see this in this channel and have the ability to work on it and edit it. So if I switch over to Beverly, and I move out of my chat, I see that there's been a new post in barbecue because the channel is bold. So if I click on barbecue, there it is. It just loads normally for me, and it's all good to go. Now, where does it actually live? Well, it lives in the channel in the Files tab. So if I click on Files, you're going to see we just created it. There's barbecue cook-off.loop. So this file is owned by everyone who's a member of this team. So remember, OneDrive is yours, Teams is y'all's. We're going to talk about the last, I'm going to spend the last 5 minutes. We're going to talk about a website, because you might ask yourself and you're like, Dwayne, I've been using Loop. I got loops everywhere. I don't know where they're all at. I can't keep track of them. There's loops all over the place. How do I get my loop together? So the way you could do that is there's a website called office.com and there's a loop icon there, and you'll see at the bottom of my screen that it actually takes you to loop.microsoft.com. So you can go to loop.microsoft.com. So I'm going to click on that. And you're going to see a tab here called Recent Components and Pages. And this is all the loops. Like, check it out. The loop that I just created, plus the loop that I created before that, plus loops I created yesterday, are all available here. There's even a search bar where you can search for all your loops. And this search bar will actually search for the keyword that you use, will search for that keyword inside of the loop itself. So if I typed in turkey, there's every loop that I have. You can see I've done this before, that says turkey inside of it. So this is really, really convenient to see. So this is probably the best place I would go if you are looking for a one-stop shop for all the loop files that you have been working with. Now, there's another layer to this. So we have components. Those components live on pages, and above pages would be a fairly new thing, a very new thing actually, called workspaces. Workspaces are a little tricky right now. A workspace is a area that you can collect lots of pages and organize them and brand it and give it, pretty pictures and put multiple things on the page. Right now, Workspaces, the Loop application itself, was available to the world in public preview. It's up in the air right now if education is going to have it. So I wanted to be fully transparent, because as you click on things and as you look at things, you might see Loop won't be available for EDU, and that is not the case. That's not true. Everything that we showed you, using Loop in Teams chats, storing loops in your OneDrive, storing loops in a Teams channel, using it in Outlook, all of that will function forever. That is totally fine. The thing that's kind of up in the air is workspaces. Workspaces are where you can organize and collect everything. It's kind of like a team in a sense. There's actually a roster connected to it. So I could, where was I at? Right here. So I can have members and stuff. So this is like creating a SharePoint site in a sense, and you can use this to grant people access to things, and you can do some more advanced capabilities with collecting all of these things together from a project manager's perspective or taking notes perspective. Super powerful. Now, I want to show you, this is the Loop feedback portal from Microsoft. Look at the number one highest voted item on the entire feedback portal is, we want this to be available for education.
And that's just 2 months of voting.
Yeah. Yeah. And look at the response. So for it's a blue check mark on it. It's legit. Official Microsoft response is, we're considering this. And they are really excited to know how much this matters to EDU. So I'm, with a high level of confidence, think that this will work out. I think this will be just fine. So we'll keep you up to date on that if any changes are made there. But if your university has turned on the Loop preview and you go to loop.microsoft.com, then you might see a workspaces tab right here. And I encourage you to play with it. I encourage you to try it. I encourage you to make a workspace and play with making pages and stuff like that. I know we just hit time, but the one huge advantage that I want to show you that you get with a workspace is, if you've got a gigantic page and you don't want to give someone access to everything that's on the page, you can convert anything on this into a component. Remember what I said a component was? Components are portable. I can create a component out of that particular paragraph, and then I can drop that paragraph into a Teams chat and give someone access to it. And then when they update that paragraph, they will only be updating this very specific part of that overall page. Again, from a project manager type perspective, this is bananas. This is so powerful. So if I take this and send this over to, maybe I'll send it to Wharf.
Yeah, so that gives you the ability to have a location where, like you said, as a project manager, you're tracking a whole bunch of information, then maybe you need to collect information from 3 different other work groups. Um, but they don't need to see all the information you've got. You just need a little bit of information from them. You don't need to go generate a new Word file or a new Excel file if you've got a table, and then share that with them, and then pull that back into your location where you're working on this in a workspace. You can just, like Dwayne just did, grab a small chunk of that information, put it in front of the people that need to respond to it, and get back just information about that section updated.
Yep. Yeah, incredibly powerful. So we'll keep you up to date on the availability of workspaces for education. Um, but like I said, know that everything that we showed you, using it in Outlook, using it in Teams chats, using it in Word Online, using it in Teams channels, all that is
Whiteboard.
available and
It's
works
available
today.
on
Yeah,
Whiteboard.
it's available on Whiteboard. Super powerful. The task assignment, oh, that's so cool. The ability to generate a task list like on the fly and assign tasks to people. I know y'all like assigning tasks to people. Our planner sessions have always been super popular. Um, but that's it for Loop. I'm going to kill the recording. As always, we'll stay on the call, answer any questions for a little while if you got any questions. I'm super happy to see so many people here, and I'm looking forward to how this community is going to proceed in 2024. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you.